Ah man, I was so pleased with myself last week for managing to keep a review video under 10 minutes. Now look at this one. Ah well. Tegan, release the rats!
We're in the 80s.
I miss my rats. The Visitation is a 4-part serial from 1981 and is the 4th story of season 19. This is my very first time watching it, so I chose to view the DVD version, in this case the 2-disc special edition with the snazzy cover. I just love the colour contrast in this, so much better than the ugly standard edition. This is one of numerous classic Doctor Who stories that I knew diddly squat about going into it. The only mention I recall seeing about it online was a single post in a Doctor Who physical media Facebook group many years ago where someone lamented the fact that there was like a 2-second shot of an alien hand pushing a button on a console that was missing from the DVD and Blu-ray versions despite it being present in their VHS. I can't speak to the validity of that, and I don't care enough to go looking for that old post. Judging by the length of this video, it's not hard to tell that I found a whole lot to talk about with this one. So, let's dive right in. After the opening scene, when we actually catch up with the TARDIS team, I was surprised just how connected this felt to last week's Kinder. This is the first Doctor Who serial in a long time that's felt to me like it had a really tight continuity with the last one. With a lot of direct continuations of plot points, like the Doctor scolding Adric for causing havoc in one of those war machine thingies, even though it came in pretty clutch, and Tegan having a real conversation with Nyssa about the trauma she endured with the Mara possessing her mind and body. I do love it when one story flows so well into another. It's not an essential part of the show or anything, but I do appreciate when they make an effort to make it feel more connected. I think Key to Time's obviously the go-to example, like one season-long story arc. But there were other examples, especially in the very early seasons. I always appreciated how characters would start a story like, oh man, can't believe we only just got away from that previous adventure, on to the next one. Not to say it's bad when, a story just starts off, page 1, chapter 1, nothing to do with the previous one. I'm rambling again. Continuity. There's even a callback to Adric's TARDIS homing device from forever ago that I honestly completely forgot about. The plot this time around sees our heroes finally arrive at Heathrow Airport to drop Tegan off for her first day on the new job. Only problem is they're about 300 years too early. Well, I say only problem, but I suppose you might consider a deadly plague, killer androids, alien fish people mind controlling the locals as several extra problems to deal with. Not to worry though, for they have help in the form of one of my new favourite side characters. This thespian/highwayman has the bravado and gusto similar to that of Barbossa from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I'm a sucker for those cliche, thick British, gravelly voices, and he's definitely one of them. He'll help take down this Timu Masters of the Universe, Skeletor-looking fool, and his alien master. I must be getting soft because when I saw that freaky fish guy, I thought to myself, wow, what a cool design! Whereas I reckon old me would have just laughed it straight out of the room. Look, if I may cut straight to the chase for a second, this isn't the most exceptional story, and yet it just kept impressing me. Nothing was bothering me or sticking out as an obvious weak point. It's very solid throughout the majority of its runtime until, before I knew it, I had several pages of notes of things I really admired about it. For starters, I know I already briefly talked about our main characters and how the story continued on from Kinder, but I really just wanted to emphasize how strong the character work is here. There's some genuine progression and dynamics at play, particularly in the back half of the story. The Doctor working on his short temper, Adric feeling useless when he's not able to help his friends, and the admission that he's not even sure if the others like him despite him trying so hard. Which I think shows that despite Adric being a little turd sometimes and saying the wrong thing at the wrong time a lot, he isn't trying to be a nuisance. Doesn't excuse the fact that he is a nuisance from time to time, but hey, that's a layered character right there. Sorry, I'm sure many of you are getting sick of me giving Adric so much attention in my reviews, but it's only because I've seen so much vitriolic hate thrown his way online. Back to strong character work. It's nice to see this particular group of companions working together. Whether it be tackling bad guys, literally, or escaping prison cells with each other's help. The Doctor even trusts Nyssa enough to do work in the TARDIS alone. So she really is a very capable companion, similar to Romana, just less back-chatty, which some people could probably see as a less compelling character. I'm rambling again. The whole thing reminds me a lot of the 13th Doctor's crew, their whole dynamic. Heck, speaking of Nyssa, she pretty much saves the day at one point, single-handedly taking out arguably the toughest foe of the story. And again, in another surprising display of teamwork, Adric and Nyssa somehow manage to pilot the TARDIS together, at least for a little bit. Call it convenient BS or call it a miracle. Either way, it's refreshing to see these three companions working together. Sure, they still bicker a lot, but at least we as a viewer know it's not all hostile. Tegan even confides in Nyssa that she's going to miss everyone once she's back in her own time and place, whenever that'll be. Another character of sorts that's been getting a lot of love this season is the good old sonic screwdriver. It's kind of cool getting to see it utilised so much. Did he just blow up the sonic screwdriver? He just blew up the sonic screwdriver! What a dick!
Oh no!
The Doctor even referring to it as an old friend. Apparently we don't see it again until the Paul McGann era, according to Wikipedia, so yeah. Rest in peace, old friend. Okay, I gotta talk about the Fifth Doctor for a sec. I'm starting to get his appeal. And ironically, it's the monologue from Time Crash that best describes it. You know, the Children in Need special where the 10th Doctor meets the 5th Doctor and talks about how, like, before I was you, I was always this grumpy old guy, and then I became you, and I was young and full of life and so different. Yeah, it's not completely accurate. 5 certainly still got a temper, and he's not the most interesting Doctor to me, yet. But I do kind of get where 10 was coming from. I always assumed as a teenager watching Time Crash, before I knew anything about the 5th Doctor, that it was just a very well-written, well-crafted love letter to a former Doctor. Maybe even David Tennant gushing about his own childhood favourite Doctor. So it makes me wonder now, did David Tennant take inspiration from Peter Davison's performance? Because at times, number 5 really does feel like the first modern Doctor. So you know what that means. You know what I'm about to say, so say it with me. This at times feels like a very modern serial. I know, it's a phrase I've uttered many times recently, so I'll spare you the whole spiel, but just know that there are several times throughout this serial where I reckon if you threw in a few more close-ups and dramatic camera angles, film the whole thing in HD, and I could easily see it passing as a 2000s era episode. I love the Doctor's serious moments here, where he stands face to face with his enemy and says, "Oi, that's not right, and I'm gonna stop you, because I'm the Doctor." Oh, that's a very modern Doctor Who thing as well. But how cool. That's like a power moment, right? When you got this new actor who's playing the character, or even if he's been playing the character for years and he's facing down an unstoppable enemy and he says, "Oi, I'm gonna stop you, because I'm the Doctor." It's great, that's great. Takes a lot for a man dressed in cricket gear and wearing a vegetable to be taken seriously. Okay, acting, characters, great. Other things I like. The sets are fine. They're not as outstanding as the last couple of weeks, but they do the trick. Actually, the best one for me had to be that little bit of London they built for the final showdown. It's so stylized and detailed, and lit so well, creating such a unique, foreboding atmosphere, and all for something that's seen on screen for a matter of minutes. Much like these other alien suits. I found the original costume to be awesome enough. You're telling me they had 3 of these things made, only for 2 of them to show up in a single scene? Gotta love the dedication to the craft. And that ending, whoo! After a surprisingly gruesome and graphic shot that only lasted a few seconds and yet still left an impact on me. The story concludes with an out-of-the-blue tie-in to a real historical event. Yeah, like many modern viewers, I'd like to think I'm not the only one who after watching the final shot went, "Oh, I wonder what that's in reference to. Let me just pull up Google and, oh! The Great London Fire of a very long time ago." Okay, Doctor, a bit in bad taste for you to say, this fire should be allowed to run its course. Cue the rabbit hole of me Googling this real-world event and being blown away by all these beautiful oil paintings. Anyway, even though the death toll was reportedly surprisingly low, that's still a pretty blasé reaction to have there, Doc. Then again, this is the same Time Lord who cackled maniacally after causing most of Rome to burn to the ground, so yeah, that checks out. And that's The Visitation. Huzzah! A very enthusiastic thumbs up from me. Man, I am digging this season so far. And hey, I managed to not ramble on as long as I thought I would. Go me. Hopefully, next week I'll be able to keep the runtime down, which should be easy because we are seeing the long-awaited return of the elusive 2-part serial. Tune in next week while I review Black Orchid. Orchid? Or why am I unable to pronounce simple words? Hey guys, just wanted to stop by the end screen to say that this video is going out on my brother's birthday. It's the second one we're celebrating without him, so I wanted to take this opportunity to say, tell your loved ones you love them. If there's a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while, flick them a message, let them know you care. I hope you guys have a great day.